I always had a very complex life, and I never had a good psychological opinion about myself, and that's because of my upbringing and my view on my life and my view of just my whole barometer as a person. And so I never grasped that love of that particular identity of myself. I never understand the concept. How do I express this? I've never expressed this, but how do I start? I've never to understand the concept of greatness. I just never was able to understand that concept of greatness. And as time went on, and I've gotten older, and I've met many journeys on people that I met on my journey, and people who I've read about on my journey. I read that greatness in itself doesn't come with goodness. The two don't coexist with one another. And I spent all my life trying to become great because I had such a low self-esteem. And I realized late in life that all great men are not good men. And then so I tried to embark on a whole different career and try to become good. But what's the concept of good? Being a floor mat? I never understood the concept of good. And the concept of good is pretty much then I must be a politician, because politicians are always striking for goodness and always trying to win votes from people. And only reason that we win votes because they believe that we're good. So how do we live in those two dimensions at once? You want that greatness for self-gratification, but you want goodness from a human perspective. I respect a person who's willing to die for what he truly wants, even if it's love, even if it's a woman, whatever it is that he truly believes in, and that he believes that it transcends him to that level to demand for love, for instance. I look at love as a command to just rise to your greatest potential. My mother's she's a southern woman from the Virginia area, and this is what I found out later. And I only can remember for a small period from a real small increment of my life that I lived in Bedford-Stuyvesant in the middle 70s. Eventually, we had to move. We were evicted. We had to leave the house. All of our furniture was really politely decorated, the concrete outside. So we had to, me and my brother, I guess we had to sit on the furniture to wait till my mother can get a place for us to stay. And it was just after that, it was pretty much hard times, welfare. When we moved to Brownville, which was a much more aggressive neighborhood. And it just wasn't good. It was just crime-infested, drug-infested neighborhood, and it was very aggressive. Yeah, they used to bully me in school, and so I never went back to school. So when my mother used to send me to school, I would just be hanging around the school, walking around the school, and if normally we have security guards, the truants officer, they see me, I would take off and run, or hide in the building, abandoned building. But normally, my mother knew I wasn't going to school. Then I met some guys one day, and they pursued to ripping me off, and they realized I didn't have no money. But on lunchtime, I used to go in school and eat lunch, and then leave school again. So I met him early in the morning, just like when you're going to school. So I met him at the pigeon coop, and from then on, me and him started robbing houses. He taught me how to rob houses. As time went on, I've learned to while people were in the back that I would, and they fell asleep, I would go in their pockets and take their money. And that's just how it's been. That's just what it was all about. I learned how to steal at a young age.
Very young age.
Yeah, very young. I learned how to steal. I learned how to, when my mother's friends were in her house, they were drinking, I learned to go in their house from the fire escape and rob their house while they were downstairs drinking with my mother. And that's just what I learned to do in my life. And they used to call me Dirty Mike, Dirty Ike, and it wasn't because I had bad clothes. I always had the best clothes, but I always was on the pigeon coop, and I always got them dirty and tar, and I would never change my clothes and wear I would never do that. I would never change my clothes to put on some raggedy clothes and be seen in raggedy clothes because I've been traumatized from that experience when I went to the daycare center, after school center. So I would always just wear my nice clothes in the pigeon coop, and they would always get dirty, and I would just go home and change into some new nice clothes. You know, just till this day I'm the same way. I always make sure that I have nice clothes on, no matter wherever I go. If I'm playing with pigeons, if I'm playing soccer, if I'm taking out the garbage, and it's just it's just always been a scar on me since them guys just humiliated me that day. Even though I was a street kid and I was come with like a tough kid, I never had an ego. I was never really jealous of anybody. I never really thought most of myself. I knew that. I knew I would be champ of the world before I died. I knew I wasn't going to die before I became champ.